What's up, guys? Welcome to a special Friday edition of the Run Pure NBA Breakdown, NBA Rundown, whatever you want to call it. I'm here with Tyler Hicks, as usual, but we have a special guest today from the DFS side. This guy crushes DFS. He's been doing great with his NBA wagering as well. So welcome, AP, to the Rundown. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I finally decided to come on the show after going 0-3 last night, so I felt it was a good time to, to come on and talk about some bets I like tonight.
Yeah, no, I mean this. I mean, I think that the beginning of this year has kind of showed you some of the pitfalls of the NBA. For Tyler and I picks, we've been hit by the hook many a time, banged by an injury, give out a play, right, and then like Zion Williamson doesn't play or something like that completely changes things. But you keep plugging away. You trust the process, and you know the results are going to come. This is a long-term game, and not a short little sprint. So fortunately, it's a long season, and we got plenty of time to get things going. But you've been doing pretty good so far, minus last night. So we're definitely excited to have you on. And the first game we're going to talk about here is going to be New York Knicks traveling to Cleveland. New York started off pretty good, right? Thibodeau's getting all this credit, and now they've kind of regressed to the mean or what we expected from this team. I see New York's minus 2.5 on the road, and that's because they were going to have no Sexton, no Garland, and most likely no Kevin Love. So the mash unit continues. We'll start with you, AP. What did you think about this game? Did you have a lean on the side or the total here?
I mean, when's the last time we've seen a total under 200 for an NBA game? It's been a while, you
Yeah.
know. No, and it's a function of the Cavalier. I mean, the Cavs are just they are struggling to get any type of offense going right now, and that's just a function of lack of backcourt depth, and so I mean, I see a slow paced game. I don't want to mess with the total. I would have leaned the under when it came out, but still, all it takes is some good shooting, and you never know what could happen. So a total that low, I'm not really going to mess with it. Um, I'm kind of off this game. I feel like it could go either way. I do think the Knicks win, but I honestly think it could go either way.
So when you see a total of like 199, do you scratch all those guys out of your DFS lineups, or do you still think there's maybe some value in Randall and some of these high usage guys?
It's always going to come down to the situation. So with the Knicks right now, they're playing their starters really heavy minutes. So even though it's going to be a slow paced game, not a lot of scoring, a guy like Julius Randle can still get there. Same thing on the Cavs side. Andre Drummond's going to play big minutes, and both guys actually smashed in the same matchup the last time they played. I would expect them to both have big games again tonight. Damian Dotson, I think, is going to be in play. He's priced up a little bit more now on DraftKings, but 5,200, he's going to get all the minutes that he can handle because they really don't have anyone else to handle the ball. Maybe Chetty Osman, but he's not really great as a ball handler. So Damian Dotson's going to play 38 minutes, 36 to 38 minutes, and then the only I'm not really high on Elfrid Payton or RJ Barrett. Barrett's been struggling with the shot, and we're going to have less possessions in this game, so less opportunities. And that's another reason why I like the bigs. So I think we're going to have really bad shooting tonight, so it's going to be a ton of opportunities for rebounds and easy putbacks for guys like Randall and Drummond.
Tyler, on the prop perspective, I know that Randall assists were looking pretty good for a while, and just Randall overs in general. Are you targeting anything in this game in particular?
Just to go right back to his assist prop of 5.5, I think that number is still too low. He's averaging close to 8. He pretty much facilitates for their offense. So, I mean, they haven't moved that number once this year. And it's right back down to minus 112. It's not even juiced.
Yeah, and I think that's actually the best way to attack this game. The under makes sense from a mathematic perspective, but boy, to try and go under 199 in an NBA game in 2021 does not seem like a fun idea. And from the side perspective, I just think there's better spots on this card tonight. So, unless you're in some sort of pool where you have to pick every single game, I don't really see any reason to get involved in this game. I see it's moved to -2 now while we're talking. But yeah, I think if I were to place a bet in this game, I think the Randall assist over is probably the best look. Now, the next game on the card is the Orlando Magic. They're playing the Boston Celtics. Now, this will be Boston's first game here in a little bit, right? Because they had the COVID protocols and they weren't able to field a full squad. So I'm trying to see exactly who we have. I think, are we going to get the full complement of players here from the Boston side?
Jaylen Brown. So for me, I'm waiting on this Jaylen Brown news for DFS purposes. I think that really impacts what I do with this game, and for betting purposes too. I don't see. I've already gotten bit a couple times by trying to guess with players playing, and I'm not going to do that, especially in this spot right here. But Jaylen Brown's questionable. Jason Tatum's out. Kimba's out, obviously. Tristan Thompson is in. And then you got Theis and Javonte Green questionable as well. So it's going to be an interesting spot.
So with Tatum out, if Brown does play, is that like DFS hammer, or is it just going to be so highly owned it won't really matter?
I think he's a phenomenal play. He's going to be their whole offense. He's also a really good defender. So getting those peripherals is pretty easy for him to do. And honestly, Boston's favored in this game, so I kind of lean that he plays. I mean, when you guys look at this line, does it kind of seem like Jaylen Brown's going to play tonight? I guess on the flip side, Cole Anthony has not been good running the Magic's offense, right, and they've really struggled to produce, so that it could be a function of that as well.
Yeah, I mean, a match unit on both sides here. I see out or doubtful Michael Carter-Williams, Farouk Aminu, Evan Fournier, Mo Bamba, and Okeke. So what we're mostly looking like is what? Cole Anthony, Aaron Gordon, Terrence Ross, Vukovic, and will we get Dwayne Bacon in the starting lineup then?
Most likely.
Yeah, so both teams definitely not at 100%. Looking at this line, Boston -3. It looks pretty good, but Orlando's been playing pretty well this year, especially on the defensive end of the ball, and that's one thing that they've kind of been known for, especially adding Clifford as their coach. So -3, it seems short until you actually take a deeper dive into the game and see who's all playing, especially the idea of who's going to match up with Vukovic. I think that, Theis is too small, and at this point, Thompson's going to have problems keeping up with him as well. So some favorable matchups there for the Magic. So the line makes a little more sense when it comes to that. Total 213.5. Did you have a look on that, either of you gentlemen?
I'm not going to touch this game until we get more news, and okay, I don't think I'm going to touch it either way. I mean, the line looks pretty good. Yeah, I mean, if Jaylen Brown, so it opened at what, 222? It's 213-ish right now. Yeah. I would guess that it might trend upwards if Brown is ruled in, but I don't really have a play on it.
Yeah, I don't either. Maybe lean to the Magic. I think they might have a little more continuity here with the lineup that they do have, but really not one of my favorite plays. Tyler, did you have a lean on the side or total, or do you want to just go straight to a prop?
I got nothing in this game. There's no prop released. I ain't touching this game. With these COVID news and you don't know who's going to play, it's almost like you're capping a whole new team. Yeah. I want nothing to do with this.
All right. Well, I think discretion could be the better part of valor when it comes to this game. The next game on our slate is the game that will be on, I think this is ESPN night, so this is our national game. And it's a great game. It's a great matchup. Two MVP candidates here in Luka Doncic heading to Milwaukee to take on Giannis and the Bucks. The Bucks have the top offensive rating in the NBA right now at 118.1 per 100 possessions. That's just fantastic what we expect from them. And, Jrue Holiday's fit in quite well, kind of getting some of that added defense on the perimeter here. And I think that DiVincenzo's been – I think he's been a fun player. My Kings missed out on not getting him. I think that he's just going to continue to get better and better. On the Dallas side, Porzingis came back. Dropped, I think, 18 in his debut. Looked pretty good, so that's an impressive thing for them. And interesting to see how it works back in that. So I see no one out for the Bucks. I see Dorian Finney-Smith, Brunson, and Josh Richardson are all out or doubtful this evening. So we'll cap it assuming those three are out. Dallas is getting 6 here. They've won 4 in a row. What do you think? I'm kind of leaning towards taking the points.
I would take the points here with Dallas. What do you think, AP?
Yeah, for me, it's a total bet. I'm on the overs. I got on at 226 and a half. I'm always going to target the Bucks overs. They play at such a fast pace. They have one of the most efficient offenses in the league. And we saw last year, Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, they were also one of the more efficient duos in the league too. So I think we're going to see a ton of points. And I was kind of surprised by that number. And I'm surprised it's 228 now, I think. Do you guys have it up?
Right now at Bookmaker, it is 228 and a half.
I mean, I think I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong, but I think Trey Burke running the second unit for the short time that Luka's off the court helps as well. He's a guy that can score a ton of buckets, doesn't play a ton of defense. Luka's shot looks a lot better. Trying to see, Hardaway is going to be playing. I just see a lot of points in here, and the only thing that I think ruins a bet like this is the last time I was on the Bucks overs, which was let me pull up my record here. It was the Bucks Pistons over 225. We had that first. On that one. Yeah, we had that first quarter. Killed us. Yeah, where the Pistons put up 13 points, and we were still very live heading into the fourth quarter. So, honestly, I would put more. I'd probably put 2 on this, but I like to dial back when I'm not running so good. So, love the over here.
All right, yeah, and this is definitely not a game that you want to get on the unders. I think that you're right, especially. Dallas got a lot of one-way players. You talked about Trey Burke. I almost feel Cauley Stein is the same way. I think he gets some credit because he's a switchable defender, but for his size, his rim protection is not very good at all. And so you throw all these one-way players out there like Burke, Hardaway, Cauley Stein. I mean, it's just a recipe for points because they can score, but they just give it up on the other end here. Even Doncic, as great as he is, really, I think at best, I'd be kind if I said he's an average defender at this point of his career. I think he will get better because he's got such a high basketball IQ, but he's not necessarily shutting anyone down yet. And Porzingis, I don't necessarily trust him to get a lot of minutes, and he gets a lot of blocks, but he also fails to rotate a lot too. That you don't credit to him, but a stronger defender would probably move in and make those plays. Tyler, I know you said you lean towards the +6. Did you have any props for this game?
No, the only one I'd take a stab on would be Luka's triple-double prop at +280. He was an assist away from it yesterday.
Yeah.
Or the last game they had. So, I mean, he's bound to get one here soon.
He's averaging 27, 9, and 8 on the year. So
yeah, he's right there.
And you don't think Porzingis is going to take any of those rebounds away?
No, I think even when Porzingis played last year, Luka was still grabbing double-digit rebounds.
All right. And AP, from a DFS perspective, is there any particular players that you're targeting that you think might be underpriced?
What's kind of crazy, just the comment on Porzingis. Last year, I dove deep into this duo, and when both of them were playing, it actually didn't take away at all from Luka's upside. They have a really nice positive correlation. I mean, it was kind of crazy. It's one of the rare duos in the league where they correlate so well, especially when they get this 2-man game going. So I played them quite often in DFS where I'd stack them both, especially when Porzingis was underpriced.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed last year, so I missed the game. I missed his debut, so I didn't get any tape study from that. But last year, I didn't think that they worked very well at the beginning of the year. And then right before Porzingis got injured, they had figured out that pick and roll. And it wasn't always a roll. It was a pop a lot of the times because Porzingis is such a good outside shooter. But as they were getting that going, that was really a lot of the reasons that I think that, we were really high on Dallas going into the playoffs. Him being injured obviously scuttled all that, but that was what they envisioned when they brought these two together, was that just an unstoppable pick and roll combination or pick and pop. So I can definitely see from the tape study I did last year. I missed the game that he played, so this one will be front and center on my TV tonight for some viewing. I'll be taking a lot of notes because these are two teams that obviously we'll be talking a lot about going forward as both being championship contenders. So
I do think he is on a minutes limit still.
Right.
I know he was last game, so maybe it goes up a little bit. Maybe he gets 25. He got 21 last game. Not DFS viable at 8K in those type of minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Thanks for that info there for on the DFS side. The next game is a rematch of a game that I know you and I got burned on was it Wednesday night because we were both on the same side and we both loved it and it looked great for 3 quarters and then Minnesota fell apart, like only scoring like 13 in the fourth quarter or something ridiculous like that. And Memphis went through. Memphis has now won, I think, 4 in a row. They're up to 6-5 with Ja Morant being out. That's fantastic. They're 4-1 ATS against the. I'm sorry, they're 6-5 ATS. 4-1 on the road ATS here, and the line seems to be about the same. I think it closed at 3. Oh, down to -1. Opened at 3 this time, down to -1. So Memphis is taking money. What do you think? Was that an aberration? Do we go back to the well of Minnesota, or was there something that we saw in that game that made us realize why we took the L there?
I mean, John Moran is questionable. I think he could play tonight, and if he does play, I actually like the over in this game. I think we'll see a faster paced game, and 224.5 right now. With Tyus Jones in there, he's kind of like a game manager. Likes to slow it down. At least when I'm watching him, it seems like that. Where John Morant's going to be pushing the pace. I think if and I've been trying to sift through all the beat writer news to get because 224 is just too low if he plays. Even if he gives us like 22 to 25 minutes, I would love the over here. And I'm not the side. I want to say the Wolves. I don't think we were wrong with that play at all. And there's definitely, I'm not going to the Grizzlies. I'm not going to jump shit.
Yeah, and Minnesota's been a team that they've done what we've expected, right? I mean, they score and they don't defend. And then what would happen in that fourth quarter was they stopped scoring while they weren't defending. But they still do have great offensive potential. Towns, he might be you have 2 of the ultimate one-way players here in Russell and Towns. But I love Towns' offensive versatility. I really think that he almost gets underrated because of the situation he's in Minnesota. Russell, I'm not as high on, but he definitely fills the stat sheet up. And Anthony Edwards is a guy that I wasn't sure how he was going to turn out, and I'm turning into a big Anthony Edwards fan. I think he's really going to be good in 2 or 3 years. Now for tonight's game, I don't know what to expect from him. Tyler, did you have a lean on the side total, or if not, do you have any props that we should be targeting?
The only thing I'd look at in this game is Karl Anthony Towns points over 22.5. I think that's too low for him. I think he should be able to drag Valanciunas out, hit a couple threes, get around him on the dribble. And just like you said, he's a one-way player. He focused strictly on offense.
All right. That seems like a good look there. And my last question for you, AP, is this a guy that I hear talked about on the Run Pure Sports NBA countdown a lot, and it seems to be they go back and forth on whether or not he's value. Desmond Bane, does he ever make it into any of your lineups? Because he's pretty.
Yeah, I haven't played him. Okay. I'm looking at it right now. People were just playing him, I think, because when Morant went out, he is one of the guards that they had. And then, Grayson Allen went out, and D'Anthony Melton was out, and so that's the only time Bane made my player pool. I'd much rather play D'Anthony Melton. He's he's not bad at getting the racking up the peripheral stats. He's a pretty good defender. Usually, you're seeing around 2 to 3 combination of steals and blocks per game, but he doesn't get a ton of minutes, so it's definitely a riskier play, but he's only 4,300 on DraftKings.
Okay, but he's not going to make the lineup tonight now that everybody's back. I think that Bane's an interesting prospect, and I think that he might end up being good. When these guys come in at 19, sometimes you don't really see what they are for a couple years. The next game we have is a game that I would kind of consider to be all offense versus all defense, and that's the Chicago Bulls heading down to Oklahoma City. Chicago opened as a pick. They're now -1. This game opened at 224.5. It's now 225. Boy, I was on the wrong side of OKC the other night. I think I caught the wrong end of their stretch when they lost to the Spurs. And Chicago's a team that I wasn't really that high on to start the season, but I'd have to give Billy Donovan credit. I think this offense looks a lot more fluid, and boy, they can put it up. And if you're just talking about one end of the floor, Kobe White and Zach LaVine's a great guard combination to have. Now on the other end, not too good, but both those guys can get to the rim and then also punish you from behind the arc if you give them some space. So I think this is an interesting game, not necessarily one I want to get involved with. AP, did you have a lean on the side or total?
Yeah, I definitely have a lean on the Thunder.
Okay.
Trying to see. Yeah, they opened up. I mean, the line moved quite a bit already, but it looks like people are backing the Bulls as well. But yeah, I like the Thunder. So if you look at the run that the Bulls are on right now, it's driven by Zach LaVine and really good shooting. I think they throw Lou Dort, who's like one of the best defenders
Yeah.
out there. This dude is a beast. I think they throw him on Zach LaVine. And I was going through our playbook on the DFS side. I'm not even listing Zach LaVine in my player pool because he's priced up on DraftKings. And if you factor in the matchup, assuming Lou Dort's on him, I don't think he's going to put up a big number. But the guy's been playing lights out. He's, he proved me wrong in their last match. The last two matchups, the Lakers are good defensively. Clippers, they're pretty good against, combo guards and wings. And, Zach LaVine got it done against them. But I'm going to trust Lou Dort in this matchup. And I kind of lean the under, but for me, it's kind of a stay away.
Yeah, I don't see anyone listed out, so Al Horford will return. Kind of disappointed with him. I thought that he was going to be a DFS darling, getting some extra usage, leaving that crowded situation in Philadelphia and heading over to Oklahoma City. Haven't seen it yet from him, but obviously the season's young. On the Bulls side, I see Satoransky and Hutchinson out. I mean, Satoransky, I don't know if you ever play him. I think that he's actually a pretty good backup guard, though, if you're trying to play spreads. So I think it is a little bit of a loss for them. And then one other player I wanted to ask you about, because I go back and forth on him, whether or not, what his value to the team really is. Lauri Markkanen, what are your thoughts on him, AP?
I don't know. I don't really like the guy. He looks good at times, and then he looks really bad. And I probably let a little bit of the tilt factor weigh into how I think about how he plays, because I've definitely been on the wrong side of Lauri Markkanen when I've rostered him in DFS purposes. Do you know if he'll be on any type of minutes restriction tonight? Because he hasn't played since the 29th. I mean, he's been out a little while.
Yeah, the one I'm seeing hasn't projected for 30 minutes, but I don't necessarily trust that.
They are thin in the front court, though, so I mean, he might be forced into a bigger role. I actually like Al Horford in this matchup. I'm always going to play bigs against the Bulls, especially with how thin they are right now, given the injuries they're dealing with. And so Horford doesn't get the minutes, but he has shown upside. And this, I mean, whenever he's out there, he's firing. He's taking a ton of threes. He's not making a ton of them, but at least he's shooting the ball quite a bit.
All right, Tyler, OKC, Chicago. I force you to choose a side. Where are you going here? You can take OKC or you going to take the Baby Bulls?
Give me Chicago.
All right.
Billy Donovan coming back to OKC. I think he comes back, lets LaVine loose on him. Kobe White has a big game, and they win this game by about 10.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be that surprised to see it at all. The total is like 225, and like I said, this is almost like, the unstoppable force, immovable object thing, where it's like I have this awesome offense going, that's terrible defense going against a team that has a terrible offense and an awesome defense. So I didn't really want to get involved in the total. Did you have a lean on the total, Tyler? It is sitting at 225.
I would lean under, but maybe like a Bulls team total over. Because, I mean, how many points is OKC going to get you? 105? So you're basically banking on Chicago getting close to 120.
Yeah, my only pushback there would be Chicago kind of has that defense that makes everybody look good, right? It's almost like a get-right game for everybody. Going against them. Player props. Did you have any leans or likes on the player props for this game?
The only one I'd lean is Kobe White's points over 17.5. Because just like AP said, they're going to put Dort on LaVine. So, I mean, if he starts to slow him down, the ball's got to go to Kobe White to shoot. So, I mean, I think 17 is a little low there.
Yeah, and I think he's averaging 17, 5, and 5 so far this season. And then one more thing before we move on this game. Definitely want to get your thoughts, but we'll start with you, Tyler. Patrick Williams, what have you thought of his rookie campaign so far?
Actually been pretty invisible for me. I haven't heard his name said much. Haven't seen many highlights of him, so hasn't been the best.
Really? I think he's done pretty well. Like,
I don't know if it's just me not paying attention to the Bulls as much either.
Yeah. I mean, to me, he's almost just like a young Otto Porter Jr. AP, what did you think about Patrick Williams so far?
I think everyone on that team has been invisible except for Zach LaVine, and it's because Zach LaVine has just been crushing. No, I mean, yeah, I got to agree. I mean, I think he's been fine. He hasn't been bad, but DFS-wise, he hasn't really been too relevant, except early on he was because he was really cheap. Now his price is up, and so it's easier to move off.
Yeah, all right. Well, yeah, always interesting to see how these rookies come in and take the league, because a lot of them, because they come in so young, you don't really see who they are for 2 or 3 years. The next game is, I know you and I are on opposite sides here on this total. It's Atlanta heading down to Utah. Utah's -6, and this total, it's going with you. So the market agrees with you and not me. Opens at 223.5. It's all the way up to 226.5. And just looking at some stats, Atlanta though, 2-8 to the under so far this year, and Utah 4-6 to the under. What is your reasoning for liking the over in this game, AP?
Yeah, so we get Joe Ingles out, who's been coming off the bench, and we've seen Jordan Clarkson get some extended run when Ingles is out. We saw that a couple different times, and Clarkson pushes the pace. He's a great player for overs. And then on the Hawks side, I think we've kind of ran bad looking at Hawks overs. And look, like, this is one of the faster paced teams in the league. Trae Young obviously loves to push the pace. Rajon Rondo is questionable. If he gets ruled in, he's not going to play big minutes, but he does push the pace and create offense off the bench. I think that's going to help. And Clint Capella is questionable as well. I actually think if he sits, it would kind of help the over out. We'd see more points in the paint. And, Mike Conley, I've given this guy a hard time DFS-wise. He's playing at a faster pace this year. It's been Donovan Mitchell has been the one slowing him down a little bit. And I just think this is going to be one of those games where we see Trae Young and Donovan Mitchell kind of go back and forth and put up a bunch of points.
Yeah, and so for me, I like the under here, and two things that I will point out is Capella coming back seemed to slow the pace down and increase the defense, right? I mean, his rim protection, it's funny, it doesn't look like it, but when you look up the stats, he's considered to be like top 5 by those advanced analytics. Kind of surprised me a little bit. He's a little better than I expected. And then the other thing that happened right around the time Capella came back is and it was written about in The Athletic, the infamous little film room meeting where John Collins called out Trae Young for shooting too many shots early in the shot clock. And I think that he's made a concerted effort now to try and get his teammates involved. And the funny thing is, I think he's done it to the detriment of the offense. I mean, there's a reason that Trae Young was doing all these things. I mean, that's his game and that's the way he plays. I understand Collins is in a tough spot, right? Because he didn't re-up, so he's going into free agency, right? So he wants to put up numbers. He wants his usage. He wants these individual opportunities. So it makes sense for him, but I don't know if it was the best for a team. And for Coach Lloyd Pierce, I think he's really having troubles navigating this. And I was kind of high on Pierce going into the season. Watching the way he's navigating it, I think has been an issue. So I think he's going to have to turn this around really quick. We're on the opposite sides of the total. Tyler, do you want to jump in and be a tiebreaker? Where do you think this is going? Over or under?
Under.
You're on the under too.
Yeah.
Utah -6. If you're out to make a lean on the side, Tyler, what would you go for?
Utah -6.
You think they cover? What about you, AP?
Man, I would take the Hawks. we're definitely in disagreement on this game.
Cool.
I liked how Trae looked. Like, okay, so they haven't played in 3 days or 3 or 4 days, and man, he had some of that swagger back against Philly. He was pulling up from 35, 40 feet. And, hopefully he brings that. I think that'll be huge. But you're right on everything that you said. I'm banking on a few different things here, banking on good shooting. I do think the pace should be good. But, yeah, if Capella's in there, you're not going to get a lot of points in the paint. Both bigs could struggle. So it just comes down to shooting.
All right. So obviously you like the over. Does this mean that we might see some Atlanta stacks or Utah stacks in your DFS lineup?
Yeah, definitely like the stack in this game. I like the Trae Young, Donovan Mitchell combo, which if you're stacking this game is kind of the obvious way to play it.
Right.
I think maybe a more contrarian way definitely would be like Jordan Clarkson, even though I think he's priced way up, but this guy's just been producing off the bench and he's taking a ton of shots. And
Right.
I think he has a clear path again tonight as long as he gets 28 to 30 minutes, which it might be a stretch on the 30 minutes.
Tyler, I know Mangone used to love himself some Jordan Clarkson overs. Are you looking at that, or is there any other props you're looking at for this game?
The only one I was eyeing up was Mitchell over 25.5 points. I mean, just like AP said, this should be a back and forth one-on-one game between him and Trae Young. So, I mean, he's the majority of their offense. I think he could hit 3 to 4 threes this game. So, I mean, I think 25 is a little low. I think we could see him get above 30.
All right, that's fantastic. Do you remember when we were hammering Mitchell props? Did they assist props? Did they make that number right again? Is there no value there?
Well, no, we did that when Conley was out.
Oh, okay. That was
Because
it. I remember for a while it was like we had Mitchell every night, right, on the assist prop. All right. Well, I think that's pretty good for that game. Best of luck, AP, and I'm sure we'll have some fun in the Discord going back and forth, depending on the result.
For sure.
Yeah, and then let's see. We got two more. I'm going to put my team last. So let's go ahead and let's go to the defending champion Lakers. They are playing New Orleans in is this a rematch? Did they just recently play? I get them all mixed up. But, yeah, so they're hanging 10. For some reason, that's what I thought the line was the other time when they played too. Numbers at 220, and players out. Lonzo's going to be out. And, I was thinking of the Clippers. I always get the LA teams mixed up. Lonzo's going to be out, and I don't see anyone out for the Lakers. Boy, coming off that long bubble run, really impressive that they've been so healthy so far. So, I don't know. I'm not in the business of laying 10, but I haven't been really that impressed with New Orleans so far, so they didn't really seem like a dog that I was too excited to back here. They did get that cover against the Clippers. That was the game I was thinking of. And Zion is back, which should help their offense a lot. The Pelicans are 4-6 against the spread this year. Lakers are 7-6 against the spread. Did you have a lean on the side or total there, AP?
Yeah, I'm completely off this game. The Lakers could come out and just wipe them off the court, but then they also could come out and just kind of, gradually make their way through three quarters and keep the Pelicans in it. And so that's my fear there. DFS-wise, I'm off this game, except for, Nickeil Alexander-Walker looked really good last game.
37, yeah.
Tougher matchup, definitely a tougher matchup. I almost kind of lean like fading the guy just because I think he's going to be really popular even if Bledsoe's back. But man, I guess if Bledsoe isn't back, it's a really tough fade at 4,400. But still, he could absolutely come out and put up a dud, especially against a good defensive team like the Lakers.
And I don't see Bledsoe on the injury report, so maybe I have old news there. But I was expecting him to play and kind of capping that as a play. Tyler, -10. What do you think there?
I mean, just like AP said, this Lakers team just makes up their mind before the game whether they want to toy with the team for three quarters and then fourth quarter show up, or if they just want to wipe them off the floor right at the start. So side and total, I'm staying away from. But you said Bledsoe and Lonzo aren't going to be playing, right?
No, I see Lonzo's listed. I don't think he's going to play at all. I think he's listed as doubtful, though. And then Bledsoe, I don't see him listed, but I could have old information here.
Okay. Well, even if Bledsoe plays, Bledsoe usually plays the 2 guard for them, so likely be on KCP.
Okay.
Schroeder should have a field day in this game. I think over 15.5 should be a play.
Yeah, I mean, Schroeder's been doing fantastic so far this year. I think he's averaging 14 a game, so that's right around there. But I could see it too. I mean, I think that Lonzo, he's a pretty good defender, and that's a little bit of a drop off not having him in the lineup. A little more Josh Hart time. Josh Hart's a fine player, but I definitely think that he can be taken advantage of on the defensive end. So AP's staying off this one, and he doesn't have any of the guys on the core. Now I'll be really curious to see if he'll be on this next game with my hometown heroes, the lowly Sacramento Kings, on their way to setting the record for the longest playoff drought in team sports history. And they look like they're quite capable of doing that this year with the team they've been fielding. Funny, I mentioned the 118.1 offensive rating for the Bucks earlier. The reason I did that is because I saw a funny tweet that said the Kings' defensive rating is actually worse than that. They're averaging 118.2 given up per 100 possessions. So worst defensive rating in the league. They go against the Clippers team that doesn't have anyone listed. Boy, no one's listed on either game. That's crazy for 2021. I really think the Kings are going to have problems here with the all-star forward combo. I don't really trust. I think Barnes is okay defensively, but he's getting a little up there. Bagley is he's absolutely terrible defensively. I expect him to get picked on all game. Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox don't offer much. So really, like, as far as good defenders go, you have like Holmes and Halliburton, and that's it. Clippers team total over caught my eye just because this is such a bad defensive team. And the spread is 6, and now it's 7, and I think that's the right line move. I lean towards the Clippers here. Total started at 230. Actually went down to 227. A little bit surprised about that. What are you guys' thoughts on this game? AP, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
Yeah, so I think maybe one advantage on the DFS side is the injury report. So I'm looking at one of their beat writers. So Lou Williams is questionable. He sat out the second half of their last game with hip discomfort. And then Pat Bev is on the injury report for personal reasons, which is never a good sign when something like that comes up. So I have them both as questionable. And if Pat Bev is out, Lou Will being out definitely hurts the overs case. But Pat Bev being out definitely helps because we're going to have less defense on the Clippers side. It's going to give Fox some room to work. And I could not imagine betting the unders on this game. I mean, the Kings are playing at such a fast pace. They are just, pushing it in transition. And I think Paul George and Kawhi Leonard are going to have big games. They're priced really nicely for fantasy purposes. I think you can play them. If you're not on if you're under on the Hawks game, and there's valid reasons to be, like as you guys said, I have no problem with playing both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard tonight. I think both of them could have big games. The only risk there is if they blow the Kings out, which is definitely a possibility.
Yeah, it is. One thing I know just from watching the team a lot, this seems like the type of game they get up for. So even though I think they lose, I don't think that you're going to see a completely dogged effort. I think you'll definitely get the good effort there. So I actually like them to keep going on their overs. I think that they're going to get a lot of run. If they do get pulled, I think it'll be with 4 minutes to go. I think this Kings team can keep it close, even though I don't trust them to win. Tyler, what do you think? Are you joining us on the over train here?
Yeah, I think it goes over. I think the Clippers win in a blowout too.
Oh, okay. So you would be worried about rostering these guys, huh?
No, I wouldn't.
Okay. How about a prop? Did you have any props for this game?
Just Paul George over 24.5 points.
Yeah.
I think it's one of them games where he just lights them up.
His shooting's been fantastic. He's shooting better from three-point range than his total field goal percentage.
Yep.
He's at 51% from three and 49% overall field goal percentage. So, wow, a lot of fun. What do you, just before we jump off, I just got to find out, AP. I talk to Tyler all the time, so I already know. What do you think of De'Aaron Fox here? Because they just love him in Sacramento, but I almost get that, I don't know. I don't see a lot of improvement from him here. He's one of the fastest players in the league and the coolest layups and cool highlights, but the mid-range shooting isn't there, and three-point shooting there isn't there, and the defense isn't there. What do you think? Do you think he's going to round into a top player, or do you think this is about his ceiling?
I don't know. I mean, I would like to see him on a different team. That could have a big factor into it. If you put Fox on a completely different team, he could look like a different player. But he's fun to watch. He is so fast. I mean, he is super quick. And if Pat Bev's out tonight, I have some interest. I mean, Pat, talk about an annoying player to play against. Yeah. That dude, he picks you up at half court sometimes, before then, and is just in your face and has a motor that doesn't stop. It's ridiculous. And so anytime, if he's out, I think it definitely enhances the value of Fox. DFS wise, the other guys are really tough. The front court, I never get him right. I like Marvin Bagley. I think he has some good skill sets, but it's kind of awkward there with Holmes in the front court. Harrison Barnes is a guy I don't know. I never play him. He gets a ton of minutes. Luke Walton seems to just love him. And, Buddy Hield, at least he's starting this year. I mean, how frustrating, as a Kings fan, you're a Kings fan, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay, so did it make any sense last season, him coming off the bench, sometimes playing 18 minutes, sometimes 24 minutes? I did not understand that rotation at all.
Yeah, it was weird. It was almost like they were taking a stand on his defense, but then my problem with it is like you're kind of overlooking all these other players that aren't that good defensively. So it's almost like you got 4 guys jaywalking, but then you pick one guy out and you give him the ticket and you let the other 3 keep walking. That definitely was a frustration. I know that he has had some problems with Walton in the past. But he's here. He has the extension. He's got, I think, another 3 years on it. And it sucks that you mentioned that about Fox, too, because I agree with you. But he signed an extension this year with no player option. So he's locked up for another 5 years unless, they go full rebuild mode and try and grab some draft picks or some assets for him. He's going to be stuck with this franchise for a little while. And then Bagley, I think that he would be really cool DFS-wise because he gets points and rebounds. But it's like his defense is so bad that a lot of times he doesn't play in the fourth quarter. And right. So, you guys talk about how minutes are just everything in NBA DFS, and when you can't count on him to be out there in the last 6 minutes, even in a close game, I think that really hampers his value. He's really going to have to step it up on the defensive end and take it personally because, you watch the games and they target him like it reminds me of remember Gortat when he was on the Wizards, and they would just pull him out for pick and roll every time because he just couldn't do it. I mean, that's how it is right now. Like. Whoever's on Bagley is setting the screen, to get that advantage matchup. So, cool. Well, this will be a lot of fun. I'm, jumping the foray, dipping my toes in the water of DFS. So I love having these conversations. Tyler, did you want to go ahead and give a roundup of what you thought were the best plays for you today?
Oh yeah, the Luka triple-double play at plus 280. Julius Randle over 5.5 assists. Mitchell over 25.5 points. And what was that last one? Schroeder over 15.5 points.
All right. I actually like all those looks. I'm not scared, Tyler. Bad streaks don't scare me off. I'll be putting something down on all of those today. AP, did you want to just do a quick rundown of what you thought were the best looks tonight?
Yeah, the plays I got posted already, and then I would maybe add going back. I'd add an over on the Wolves-Grizzlies game. It's basically a bet on Ja Morant playing. He was supposed to come back on Monday, and but he was upgraded to questionable, which is usually a good sign. I think if he gets ruled in, you got to think that number jumps a couple points, and so you're getting some value there.
Exactly, and you'll never catch me talking bad about someone who wants to play an over in a Timberwolves game. I mean, those guys can just score. And they just love to give it up, too. So, cool. That was fantastic. AP, this was so much fun. We're going to have to definitely bring you back soon. Definitely think you bring a nice little variety to the rundown. Tyler, good to see you back talking some NBA. I know that, you're talking about switching to the NHL, but we're going to keep you here. We're going to cash
I got to get his 5 games of knowledge spread. Then I'm going to start bucking. I'm on the ice.
We're going to cash these props tonight and get you guys back on track. So, everybody, thank you for hanging out. Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports. AP, do you want to give them a quick breakdown of what they get when they sign up for the DFS side?
Yeah, we got a bunch of different content that we do. We got a playbook that we put together. It's basically a nice consensus of the slate. It shouldn't take you very long to go over, and it'll kind of paint a good picture. We got core plays, Big T, Hoop, Mangone. Everyone is on the core plays. That's basically going to give you a roadmap when you're building your lineup. So we're going to provide 6 of the plays. We're going to leave 3 spots off. You get to pick your other plays. And man, Tony, he's been he has his workbench play of the day. It's been smashing. I think he missed last night, but he was on like 6 or 7 in a row, so can't blame him for missing. And we got a cash chart. I mean, really comprehensive product over there. Tons of videos. I mean, everything. So When you factor that and the bet side, I mean, it's a great product that we provide.
Right, and you can combine them both. Head over to Run Pure Sports for $100. You get access to the bet side and the DFS side. I think it's the best deal going as far as DFS and bets entertainment right now. On the bet side, you'll get access to Tyler and I's plays. You'll also see some of AP's plays as he jumps on the spreadsheet as well. You'll get access to us in the Discord. So, say we glossed over a game that you were really heavy into, you can follow up with us, maybe ask us some questions on things that we did there. So the Discord's live and popping. Not only that, we have other cappers who are members of Run Pure Bets that give out great plays and great synopsises. I've been loving HTP's props lately. I mean, he's been hitting, and he gives you a great reason why. So it's not like you're just blindly doing these. And then you get access to the Run Pure Bets live betting show, the Sports Keg, which for those who don't know, the NBA is the best sport to live bet on. A lot of times in football you get wire to wire. NBA wire to wires are rare. You can arb games, get much better numbers. So you get access to every single live betting show. So please head on over to Run Pure Sports or Run Pure Bets, sign up. I suggest that you do the package, get advantage of both. I mean, you want to know about injury news? It's in the DFS Discord faster than even the Bets Discord, and we are pretty quick. So it's just a great value for any type of recreational bettor that wants to up their handicapping knowledge and cash some DFS plays. So thank you everyone for joining us. AP, thank you for hanging out. Tyler, excited to see you getting back on track. We're going to have 3 new laptops in that house by next week. And thank you for joining us. Run